Ladies and gentlemen, on this RedGamingTech.com video we have yet more on the saga of DRM and the Xbox One saga. Why saga? Well, it certainly is that right now. As you guys may be aware, there has been information on the Sony camp, and there have been various Twitter and other online campaigns that have been pushing for no DRM on the PS4. And most of this was brought about because of the announcements, of course, on the Xbox One. There have been also numerous campaigns regarding the Xbox One as well, and Major Nelson has responded, and of course you all know who Major Nelson is, of course, representing Microsoft. We're fully aware of what's going on. I am also working on a few things to address it. I can't say much more right now, but we are listening. Now, according to the official Microsoft website, which is Xwire, it reads, Xbox One does not have to be connected, but Xbox One does require connection to the internet. We're designing the Xbox One to be your all-in-one entertainment system so that it can be connected to the cloud and always ready. We're also designing it so you can play games and watch Blu-ray movies and live TV if you lose your connection, end quote. However, as you guys are probably aware by now, there has been a lot of mixed messages regarding to the always online and just how used games and everything else is going to work. For example, the corporate vice president of Microsoft, Phil Harrison, was quoted in saying that the Xbox One will require an internet connection once every 24 hours. However, later on in the interview, he was asked to confirm this, and then he said, and I quote, "We've not made a specific announcement on details of that." So, what exactly is going on there? You know, you say you think it's every 24 hours, and then you say that we've not made any announcements, so did you have amnesia? That doesn't quite work. Then there's been other concerns regarding the Xbox. One of them, of course, would be Connect 2.0. I've just done a video a couple of days ago on the fact that it could well support visual DRM. The idea of that is that conceivably, Microsoft have got the patent for this. It could even do things such as see how many people are in the room and check to see if you've got a license to basically allow that amount of viewers. So let's say, for example, your license covers, say, 4 people, and let's say there's 6 people in the room. Let's say you have a movie night around your house. Then conceivably the content could say, well, you know what, Mr. Smith, you don't actually have rights to show this to more than 4 people. So would you like to pay X amount to upgrade? Now, obviously, this has not been confirmed or rumoured yet, but they certainly do have the technology. Microsoft themselves are saying that one of the reasons that they're being poorly received is because of the games. However, I think they well know that that's not exactly the case. Sure, people are concerned because, well, they wanted to see more games. But honestly, it's Microsoft. You know, it's not like they're suddenly going to abandon the Xbox brand. It's not like they're suddenly going to abandon titles like Gears of War and Fable. It's just not going to happen. But people are very concerned right now about invasive DRM. The fact that Microsoft is saying that they are listening, that's always a positive, and I'm very happy. However, I really wish they would just hurry up and clarify the statement. Right now, Microsoft is saying that it will allow players to trade games and even tolerate offline play to a point. But there's activation fees of pre-owned games, and there's even confusion on exactly how that's going to work. There's been a lot of conflicting reports. Some people, early reports, shall I say, have been saying that, you know, the players will have to pay it, and others are saying that no, the shops are going to have to pay it. And then there's been conflicting reports of, let's say I want to trade a game with you because I've completed that game. Do I have to pay a fee? Or what about if I want to lend you a game? Of course, if I'm, say, living in the same household as you and we've both got an Xbox One console, it's not such a big deal. My license will cover that house. And that's been fairly confirmed. But even so, there's still a lot of questions that I think people want answered. And I think the other way that people are coming across is not that, well, okay, I might have good internet connection, I may not have good internet connection, but what if I just simply don't choose to connect to the internet. Let's say I'm in a situation where I cannot connect to the internet. Let's say I'm, taking it around a friend's house for gaming night. Let's say I'm, moving to a different ISP. Let's say that, there's a flood or, bad weather or something, and it takes down the either phone lines or the cable lines near you or whatever it is. There's dozens of different reasons. Hell, let's just assume that you can't be bothered to, plug in the cable, or let's say your router blows up or something. Even if you simply don't want to bloody well connect to the internet, you've bought the game. It's just something that people are really struggling with. In Microsoft's defense, it's not as though the system is completely without merit, and for example, Valve Steam has been around for a long time now on PC, and as I've said before, you can pretty much take the system and say it's exactly the same as a console in many ways. For an example, you have to activate the game, you can't really trade the game. There are some circumstances where you can, but it's very tricky, and generally speaking, if you're buying it as a gift, and if you have a game you don't like it, it's pretty much tough. It's not really going to be very easy to have a refund unless there's something very wrong with that title. In other words, unless it's extremely buggy. So in that respect, they're actually being more generous. But the problem is, of course, the once every 24-hour activation, conceivably, and the fact that console gamers are of a completely different mindset to PC gamers. That's just well known. Worse for Microsoft is their rivals are simply, right now, it looks like Sony, anyway, are not going to be enforcing any DRM, or at least their DRM is going to be considerably less generous than Microsoft's. However, Major Nelson, as I've said, is looking into it, along with the rest of Microsoft, of course, and that's a very good thing. Hopefully, they can better shape their policies. Now, obviously, in some cases, I could see that it would be beneficial to have the always-on, for example, the cloud-based requirements, which I'll be actually looking at how cloud and what it can actually be used for, specifically in a very short amount of time, most likely today, or most likely tomorrow or the day after, because I've got some time off work now, which is absolutely fantastic. But honestly speaking, I think Microsoft have a very good console on their hands. I just think they need to clarify their position with the DRM. I think they need to make it less stringent, and then I think if they were to do some of that, a lot of the negativity around them will diminish. In one respect, however, they've actually been testing the water, and you can actually almost look at it. But look, let's say they were not to have implemented any DRM at all when they first announced the system. So in other words, it's pretty much like the Xbox 360 or PS3 or whatever other system. Well, let's say that then let's say they have announced it how it is, so people will look at this as quite stringent DRM. Well, let's say that suddenly they were to say, in, I don't know, a couple of weeks' time, okay guys, we've taken what you've said on board, here's the other position we've got. And let's say it's not as stringent. Let's say it's once every week. Just for example, these are just completely made up numbers. Let's say you have to connect every week to the internet. Let's say that you can trade games between your friends a certain amount of times. Let's say that, you have to go to the store to activate second-hand games and so forth. So in other words, it's kind of a middle ground for what we've got now. People would much more likely to accept that than if they'd have gone to that position to begin with. And it's kind of just an interesting little thought for you guys. Anyway, hopefully Microsoft will come back with a very good alternative for us. And in the meanwhile, all we can do is watch the skies, as they will say. Anyway, bye for now and take care.